Okay, here goes 5-5. The first part this is called box and whisker plot, and it's a measure of spread. All right, so we're looking at how is the data spread out. First of all, let's take a look at what a box and whisker plot looks like. And first thing you'll notice is there is a box and there are two whiskers. So you can think of this maybe like a cat, and you have two eyes and the big nose and then the whisker going off to each side. All right? It shows us, by the way, 5 things. And here's the 5 things it shows. It shows us the max and the minimum. It shows us the median. And then it shows us 2 other values here. All right? And these are all tied to values on a number line. So we'll start by constructing a rough number line, and then we find the 5 values and draw the box and whisker. Again, we can see how the data is spread out. Now, one of the important things is that we see 4 groups. Each of the groups represents 25% of the data. So if this is all of the data, then 25 is here, 25 is here. Okay, and by here I mean from the first to the second and likewise, and 25 in that one and 25 in the last one. All right, so we have 25% in each of those categories. So I'm going to go through and explain how to find the 5 numbers. All right, these 5 values, it's called the 5 number summary in the book, and here they are. I named them a little bit differently than most textbooks I've seen. They only use cues for some of these. So for example, this is how you normally see the 5 number summary. They go like this. All right, and it's these 5 things here. We're also going to talk about IQR, but here are the 5 numbers. And again, I think if you think of them as Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, it's going to be a little bit more helpful, and Q0. So again, the first number is the minimum. The last number is the maximum. The middle number, which is Q2, is the median. Okay, that is the middle value in your data set. Now what we do is we take the lower half and the upper half. So again, what I'm thinking here is, here you have the lower half, right? And here you have the upper half of the data set. And we want to take the middle of the middles. So this is another median and another median. All right, so we've got, in essence, 3 middles, which break up the graph, the data set, into 4 regions. Now, a word about IQR. This refers to the inner quartile range. And basically, we're going to take from Q through 3 to Q1, we're going to subtract those 2 numbers, and that's my IQR. That's in essence, how big is the box? So IQR runs from this value to this value, okay? So that's the range between the inner quartiles. And we use that for a number of things, not only to describe the spread, but it also helps us find what we call an outlier. Now, I'm going to do this on for one example that I'm doing with you, but basically, we're going to take the IQR and multiply it by 1.5, which means we're getting 150% of the quartile, of that inner quartile. Okay. All right, since we're doing medians, the first thing we're going to do is put them in order. So here's an example of an ice fishing contest, and you're in charge. You need to measure the length of each fish, and you're going to make a box and whisker plot to summarize the contest for the local newspaper. All right, here is your data set in inches, and the first thing we're going to do is list them out in order, and here they are. All right, from smallest to largest. So always put them in order right away. The first two are now obvious to see. What is the minimum and the maximum? So Q0, again, this is the minimum, is 6 in our case, and our maximum is 24. Now we'll find the median, and then we'll find Q1 and Q3. All right, there are 13 values. Again, if we take 13 and divide it by 2, we get 6.5. So this tells me that there is 6 and 6, and then there's 1 in the middle. So I'm going to circle 6 of the numbers. There's my lower half. What's wrong with my pen? Let's use this. So there is my lower half. Here is my upper half. And so now, wrong set of data, Mr. Larson. We got to do it on my ordered data. So there's the lower half. And then here is my upper half. And there is my median. Finally, we need to find the middle of the lower half. So notice how the median breaks our data set up into 2 parts. There's the lower and there's the upper. Now I need to find the middle of these. So I see 6 items. So I don't have a middle, but we're just going to take the 2 middle numbers. Bam. 10. Okay. Same thing here. There's the lower and upper half. There's the upper half, sorry, and there is the middle 15. So now we have Q1 and Q3. All right, now we can find the IQR, inner quartile range. We take Q3, 15 minus 10. So my IQR is 5. To find my outlier, I take the 5 and multiply it by 1.5. Okay, we're going to expand that inner quartile. And I think I get 7.5. Now, in a moment here, once I make the graph, we'll show how to tell if there is an outlier. Okay, careful. This is not an outlier. This helps me find the outlier for this problem. Okay, now I need to graph the numbers. So I make a number line. I put a number here on the top and the bottom that are smaller than my minimum and maximum. Now I'm going to break the number line up into 30s. So I need 3 parts. I don't like how I did that. There, a little bit better. Let me do it one more time. Okay, so here is 10, and here is 20. I'm going to add the 5s as well. I'm not going to number them, but there they are. All right, now I put the 5 dots down, representing the 5 numbers. So here's the minimum, Q6. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dot. By the way, you can put the dot above or below. I'm going to go above. It's a little bit clearer because the numbers are below. So there's 6 and 24. Okay, really close to 5 and 25. And you can draw little number lines down if you want. Actually, better just make a line down here. Okay, and you can put 6 and 24 on the number line. All right. Then let's take the median, 13. And then 10 and 15. All right, and now we've got the 5 dots necessary to build my box and whisker. Okay, whiskers on the outside, so you can just join those up. And then we need to build a little box. All right, there is our box and whisker plot. In this box and whisker plot, we can see is skewed left, skewed right. See how that whisker is stretched out? All right, there's 25% of the data is stretched out here. All right, whereas 25% of the data is squished there. So now let's see if there's an outlier in this problem. An outlier, again, I'm going to use that number, 7.5. And what I'm going to do is take my Q3, I'm going to add 7.5 to it, and I'm going to subtract 7.5 from Q1 and Q3. And this gives me 2.5, and this gives me 22.5. So now, if any item in my data set is below 2.5 or above 22.5, then I have an outlier. So I'll look back at my data set and I'll say, okay, 2.5 is way down here. Okay, I have nothing down here. So there's nothing on the low end. On the upper end, though, 22.5 is about right there. And notice I have one item, 24. That's an outlier point. That's beyond, yes, that 22.5. So 24 is an outlier. Again, how did I do that? Remember, we took the interquartile range, 15 to 10, that gave me 5, multiplied by 1.5, 7.5. I take that 7.5 and I subtract and add it to Q1 and Q3, those inner medians. And that tells me how far out I can expect an outlier to be. And in this case, on the left side, we didn't, but on the right side, we did. We had one. And that was that 24-inch fish that was caught. Okay, so box and whisker. It gives us a little picture of the spread of the data using the 5 values. Hopefully that's helpful as you create your problems. Answer your problems in your homework. Good luck.